in the peloton. You can see straight away how strung out he got, and with that, you know, there's a couple of the BMC boys that were put into a little bit of a spot of bother there. Scarponi's still up here.
There is Scarponi, and you can see as it snakes through this area again into the next town. This is the final town really before they climb again.
Yeah, it's
slight bit of flat.
It's a little bit flatter here. It's not completely flat, but it's certainly not as steep as it has been. And
Chop along with Private only means one thing, that Dąbrowski is out there on his own and attempting to ride on for what would be a big victory for both him, certainly the biggest of his career, and Sky, who've had an absolutely shocking week. Here is Dąbrowski. Nice to be back with him, the American. You can see that radio wire there. He'll be giving instructions. Remember that back in the team car, they're watching this broadcast. They've got complete communication with him. Here's Luis Leon now. Mollema just hanging around. Not too far off the wheel of Rui Costa.
No, definitely not. And Leon Sanchez is putting on all the power that he's still got left in his legs after his big day in the breakaway. And this is definitely stringing the whole what is left of the peloton. We should probably call it a front group by now. Stringing them all out.
Well, this is an ever more selective group. 45 seconds to this man, young Dąbrowski, putting in a huge ride at the minute. Well, that's the last of the houses that they're going to see. Up onto the climb again. The next two buildings will be up at the top on the Albula Pass itself. 2,300 odd metres. 2,315 is where the GPM is, but it does go up again slightly after that, just for a few metres. Dąbrowski settles in to try and make a big pace. Well, the sun has just gone in under the clouds here. It's been quite a sunny day, in fact, at the arrival. Absolutely stunning down in La Punt, where we wait you. Still, Luis Leon and Lars Petter Nordhaug. The gap continues to come down. Scarponi's almost been caught already, along with Chop and Preidler.
Yeah, I thought it was a little bit too early for Scarponi to go if he's going for the stage. He just needed to wait a little bit further until, you know, the road was going up all the way to the top rather than having these flatter sections. And but then again, when the boys are setting this kind of a tempo on the front, then it's difficult to stay out there.
Well, looking back, there aren't too many Movistar teammates left. There's Johan Chop, there's Georg Preidler. It looks as though Scarponi has attempted to ride away from them and stay in front. Not sure about how much. Strange one there. He rides at his own pace a lot, though, Scarponi. Doesn't really get fluffed by what's going on around him. He's confident enough in his own climbing pace and his own little rhythm that he likes to stay at, that he can just continue riding there.
Well, when you're sitting on a climb like this, the moment you go into red, as we say, you know, you go that little bit too deep, you push your heart rate up a little bit too high, and your power output is a little bit too high for a certain period of time. You struggle to recover after that. And you know, Scarponi's obviously got the use of the power meter and probably a heart rate monitor on him as well to measure everything and to kind of gauge where he's at, and he just keeps on plugging away at his pace. They got closer, now he's going away from them again, and you know, it's not an easy thing to do, but it takes an awful lot of experience and reassurance from yourself, and just, you know, being very confident in your capabilities as a rider.
If you're Dąbrowski up the front here, do you want a man with the experience of Scarponi with you, because it's a long way on your own at the top?
Well, it's a long way. We're looking at probably another 6 kilometers to go or so, and I think if Dąbrowski can stay out there on his own, then just, you know, keep on climbing at his pace and see what happens. If Scarponi gets to him, okay, deal with that then. But until that moment, it's just a question of keeping your pressure, keeping your rhythm, and making sure that you still get a little bit of energy on board before you get to the top here.
Cameron Meyer still in that lead group. Nice to see him. He was the yellow jersey wearer for the first couple of days, of course. Ajay Dozere not having a great week. Mikel Cherel. Alongside him is Pozzo Vivo, who you thought might be showing a little more today. In the meantime, 1 hour hanging on at the end of the back of that group. Remy Pouriol is the rider for Soyerson. Weidler trying to hold on at the back, the Austrian rider. Got into cycling thanks to his father. Dombrowski, as the road starts to go up again here, more hairpins to negotiate. In between him and that 35-second main group, somewhere is Michele Scarponi.
It's looking good actually. He's turning quite a nice gear, and he's got a good rhythm going at the moment. So it's certainly not going to be easy for someone like Scarponi to bring Dombrowski back.
Beautiful look out onto the lakes here. There's so many of them we passed on the way up. I can tell you that right at the top, I'm not sure if you've seen any of our Twitter feeds there, we posted a couple of photos from when we rode up. But there's a lake, a very small lake that's still half frozen, and it's an absolute picture with the sunlight coming down, the blue sky, the clouds, the snow, everything contrasting together. And real picture at the top here. 6 kilometres before we reach that point. Joe Dombrowski in his first year with Sky. Only had 2 seasons with the Trek Bontrager team. He was a stagiaire back in 2010 for them. But he was a star last year on the Baby Giro. He won the pink jersey there. 2 stages as well. Stages 4 and 8. 3rd in the Tour de la Gila. Did okay in the US Pro Cycling Challenge. Managed to take the best young riders jersey there. And that Tour of California we're talking about. 12th for him on there. Just missed out on the best young riders jersey. There were some very, very good young riders, and Wilco Kelderman, the pick of the bunch, I think, 12 months ago. There is Roman Kreuziger, knows this arrival well. He's now got Nicholas Roach working for him, and talking of top domestiques, we've got a former Grand Tour contender there. Perhaps even future as well.
Well, maybe even future as well, who knows. I mean, Nico Roach has been there or thereabouts for a long period of time now, but he's never quite got all the way up there. And you know, if this is what he is going to do in the future, then you know it's going to be certainly very interesting to see him keep on working, because I think he will improve with putting this kind of workload onto himself on the big mountain stages in the Grand Tours as well. And you know, right now he's hurting a big bunch of these riders.
Schleck is still with them. Right at the front of this group as well. Dan Martin isn't far away. Kanga is there, but of course he's thinking more of general classification. Rui Costa, 3rd wheel, still looks good. There's Tamil Kanga in his Estonian Champions jersey. Simon Spilak up there for Katusha as well. Katusha have already won a stage with Alexander Kristoff. Look at Andy Schleck.
Good to see him up here.
Really refreshing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Marco Mollema, the man in front of him, said before he enjoys Tour de Suisse. His aim is the podium. Dan Martin pulling a few faces. Nordhaug still in the group up there as well. There's Thibaut Pinot, only real man for La Française de Giromagny. Big ride from Schleck.
Andy Schleck is looking very comfortable there actually. Okay, he's pulling a few faces, but you know, it doesn't look like he's in trouble. And I hope I don't cause the sort of curse of the commentator here by saying that. You know, it would be really nice to see him get over the top of this climb and still be in contention. I think that'll do his confidence a world of good, and probably bring him on more than, you know, any training ride could ever do.
When you think about it though, climbing a climb such as this one, there aren't many riders who don't pull a few faces.
No, they all do, certainly at the pace that we're going up here.
Scarponi still probably closer to the front of the race rather than this group. Still in the middle and hanging about. .35 seconds, Kreuziger's second wheel. Trying to see who has any teammates left in this group. I think that Andre Amador is still climbing in there. Now Scarponi actually 23 seconds back from Dąbrowski. That's the official time check. So he's only 12 in front of the main field. Still going at his own pace, but this is a tremendous pace from Nico Roach, former Irish national champion. Must allude to his French heritage as well. Same a little with his cousin Dan Martin, born and raised in England, but he races for Ireland. Irish family, of course. Another man from very good cycling stock. Schleck still there. Mollema and with a tongue out. Nice to see Spilak. Had a very, very good season for Katusha. Just a few Portuguese flags on the way down again today. We passed them. I think one of the houses on the final part of the descent is owned by a Portuguese family. They got the flags outside and they were taking photos earlier on today. This is really the select group on GC, barring a couple of domestiques. Deluxe domestics at that, and here's one of them, Nicholas Roach. Just under 5 kilometres now from the top of the climb. It's a beastie today, I can tell you. Another energy gel goes down the throat of our leader Matthias Frank. In the meantime, it's a bottle for Simon Spilak. Had a question earlier from a few of the viewers around the world. A few of the viewers asking the same question as we see the leader Dąbrowski. Roughly, I know it depends greatly upon how you ride and what you're riding, your body weight. How many calories roughly can these guys expect to use today?
Well, anywhere between probably 4,000 and 7,000 calories you end up getting rid of. You know, it is an awful lot that you're burning. Certainly 200 kilometers in the mountains. It's hard by any rider's imagination. But for me, I would look at around about 7,000 on a day like today, and hence why a lot of these guys look like they do as well. You know, your body kind of eats anything on you. You know, any fat goes in as energy at the end of the day, and you know, it's when you're burning say 6,000-7,000 calories in a day, and you've got a week like this, and you're probably burning, you know, on a flatter day, you know, around about 4, and then the intermediate days probably 5,000, then it's virtually impossible to eat that amount of food.
It's the view from on high, and we are very high. Approaching 2,000 metres at the minute. And again, we were talking about this earlier on our little climb up. 2,000 metres really starts to do strange things to the body.
Yeah, it certainly does, and depending on what type of body build you got as well, it's some of the sort of riders, the climbers with a bigger muscle mass than some of the other guys will start feeling the altitude a little bit more, and certainly as we're coming up towards 2,300 metres, then you're already feeling the lack of oxygen in the air. So it shouldn't really affect a guy like a slightly built as Dąbrowski, but maybe someone like Nico Roach might be feeling this a little bit more once we get over the 2,000 metres than somebody built like Dąbrowski here.
Well, he can see them and they can see him. 22 years of age, Dąbrowski, by the way, still very much in the young rider bracket. There is no young rider's jersey at this race, one of the few that we don't see it at. And he hails from Virginia in the US. Now here we go. Mollema has gone and Pino wants to follow him. A lot of people are going to want to keep an eye on these guys. Rui Costa not letting them go either. And I think it's TJ Van Garderen who's gone out on the hunt to try and help out his own teammate, the one who's wearing the yellow jersey, Matthias Frank. So Mollema has made the split. Thibaut Pinot, always an aggressive rider. Great to see him like this. This is how he rode the Romandie, and they're not far off catching Michele Scarponi. And look at this for a piece of news.
Yeah, Roman Krojcik looks like he's in trouble though.
In trouble, and Andy Schleck is the man who's put him in trouble. Mollema leading them up now, and this is where the Tour de Suisse is being played out.
Yeah, TJ's obviously got a green card to go with any moves at this point in time. So you've got Didi the Devil running alongside him.
Well, he was running around at 10:30 this morning.
Yeah, it was.
On his own as well. We drove past him and he was sat on a rock rather bored. He doesn't look like that now. Look, the fork's bumping up and down. He's setting a real pace. Good old DD.
Dan Martin looks like he's taking Matthias Frank with him up, and that's Cameron Meyer on the wheel as well.
Cameron Meyer climbing better than the Saxo boys, who have been working hard all day. Kreuziger and Roach, both of them in trouble. Here's Dombrowski. 29 seconds is advantage, but it's coming down all the time now.
Got a little over 2 kilometers to the top of this climb now. Oh, sorry, 3 kilometers.
Yeah, more or less around that. Rui Costa, TJ Van Garderen, Bauke Mollema and Thibaut Pinot. It was Mollema who set it off. I'm sure we'll see a replay whenever we can. In the meantime, the chasing group is Dan Martin, Matthias Frank, Cameron Meyer and Michele Scarponi just about hanging on there as well. Of course, he's the man to consider for staged win if he does hang on. There's Chop. Alongside him is the Costa Rican rider Andre Amador. And just behind is Reichenbach. I can tell you, these guys in front of the Saxo riders we saw. Domenico Pozzovivo. Really like to get a good look at Roman Kreuziger here, because he could be on his way to losing his place big style in the Tour de Suisse. It's still Dombrowski at the moment as far as the lead of the stage is concerned. Again, realises he needs to step on the pace a bit. Look, we're at the snow level now.
Yeah, he needs to keep on going, because you never know when if these guys are going to sit up. If you know, they're realising that they're bringing TJ with them. Looks like that Costa is he's very keen on pulling away here now and working really hard indeed.
Rui Costa is 35 seconds back. Remember, he's the man who's defending the Tour de Suisse. Dan Martin wants to join this group, and he has left Matthias Frank behind. So TJ Van Garderen also has a very important job to do. Frank climbing away with Meyer on his wheel, but Frank really looking in trouble now.
It's got 35 seconds lead on Thibaut Pinot on the general classification, and then 108 down to Bauke Mollema. So, you know, he needs to just keep on working hard, keep on working all the way up to the top here, and then make a descent that, you know, will scare most of us.
Well, TJ Van Garderen himself, certainly not beyond the realms of possibility that he can win this. It's a big ask at 1 minute and 39 down. Mountain Time Trial to come, and where was it he won the Tour of California the other week? Mountain Time Trial.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was a stage winner that day as well. Here is Roman Kreuziger. So Nicolas Roach has gone. Kreuziger is the man slowly with Schleck, seeming to be riding up to Matthias Frank here. And Cameron Meyer is the man who's just a wheel and a half or two in front of the race leader. Wet roads here, so it looks as though we've had a shower or two. Dombrowski in the meantime has a lead, but the lead diminishing all the time. You can see Rui Costa and that very, very strong, almost deluxe group of riders gaining on him, and they look like they're doing so with plenty of gusto. Not far from the top here now. Just a kilometre, 2 kilometres to go. Still a bit to climb. The Belgian flags have been planted. Same group of guys who we've seen all week sitting out in the lazy boy chairs and drinking and blowing horns. Pinot sprinting up to Rui Costa, who looks like he's the strongest at the moment.
Yeah, TJ's not making any turns on the front here. He's just sitting on the wheel, basically letting Costa and Thibaut just do the work.
2 kilometres to the top now. Pinot out in front. Here's Cameron Meyer alongside Matthias Frank. Frank really has to hold on for dear life now.
Yeah, he's put in a little bit of a nervous position there now. He just needs to calm down and just really work hard and find his rhythm. And we've got 1 kilometre to top. Dan Martin has just rejoined these guys.
So everything starts to calm down here a little now. There's been a bit of a battle. Dombrowski's been caught. Dan Martin catches this group. It's now 6 men in front. It's Thibaut Pinot at the front. Dombrowski, Rui Costa, TJ Van Garderen, Dan Martin and Bauke Mollema. This is the second group on the road now.
this cat and mouse play up front here. He's obviously doing Matthias Frank and Cameron Meyer a world of good. 11 seconds down here, so that's very much bridgeable on the descent. And if they keep on, not taking any major turns on in that lead group, then these guys are going to be on before you know it.
10 seconds, continues to go down, and here goes Thibaut Pinot. 10 kilometres to go to the line, under a kilometre now to the top of the King of the Mountains graphic. Pinot, several hundred metres, but he is interested in much, much more than those points. Dan Martin in the Garmin shop jersey, just got to hang on. Here's Spilak now with Kreuziger. And it's been a good, steady comeback from him.
Yeah, he has. He's riding a little bit different. Look, he's usually pedalling a much smaller gear than what he's been. I think I just saw him on the big ring, actually.
And here goes Rui Costa, right by that Slovakian fan. Rui Costa darting through the middle, being followed by Pinot, who looks very, very active as well. Van Garderen waiting and waiting, but decides he has to follow them now. And Balkomonimus on his wheel. Dombrovski and Martin, in the meantime, losing metres by the pedal stroke.
Yeah, they certainly are. Tell you what, TJ's not looking too fresh either on that climb there. He did struggle to respond.
I think we've had some nervous hilly days this week, even on what we call these sprint stages. It has been hard work. Martin and Dombrovski, I have to say, for the moment anyway, not looking great. Pinot on the front.
Good for Matthias Frank though, because all of a sudden it gives him a little bit of a carrot to work towards as well. We've got to remember though, once you get over this the top of this climb, it literally descends straight onto the finish line, so you've got no time whatsoever. By the time you get down to the bottom of the descent, you are within 400 metres of the finish line.
10k's to go, just to remind you, one left turn here. Here's the cafe at the top. You can see the line now where the top of the climb is. King of the Mountains banner's had to be taken down because of the wind. So it's where that line is. They're over it now, and it is descent all the way to the finish line. Wind behind the start off, and then it's very fast, quite technical towards the end, and we're going to see some action with Dan Martin desperate to try and get back on. 17 seconds, and the gap has grown again to Matthias Frank, looking around the corner. Oof, it's a while until he's going to come over. They've got some work to do here on the way down.
They do, and Kreuziger's on the front here now. He's obviously found a little bit of energy from somewhere to try and ride himself back onto this. 19 seconds.
So 19 as they go over the top. In terms of closing out here, looking at the guys who are in this group, the descenders that are here, anybody you see as able to really close that gap from the second group?
Well, it's a different thing to descend when you're in a position where you're riding with a group. It's completely a different mindset when all of a sudden you're put under pressure. You need to get back onto it. You're losing your lead. You're losing, everything that you've been working for, and with that, you can take a few more risks than was usually required, and you always have that sort of, the 5% in sort of safety when you're usually riding, and at this point in time, for both Kreuziger and Matthias Frank, I'd chuck them in the bin and go all out.
Well, you can see the 10 kilometre to go banner also had to be taken down because of the wind. That was up there when we went up earlier on today. In the meantime, Dombrovski and Dan Martin, remember, still in the middle of that group there. Looks as though Scaraponi, by the way, has been left. He's realised that he's not going to win the stage today. And perhaps we'll start thinking about the mountain uphill on Sunday. This is Cameron Meyer, Matthias Frank, alongside Kreuziger and Spilak.
Cam is taking a big turn along this false flat, and Tanger is trying to get himself back on there as well.
He's a man who could also target the podium when all things are added up at the weekend. This is the race lead though. Rui Costa, last year's winner, just on the wheel of the man as he comes down to take a turn. This is where it really starts to go downhill.
It certainly does. It's a fast descent where the first part of it up here, you don't really need to touch your brakes at any point. Just clip the apex perfectly and you're fine. Obviously these guys haven't been to see the descent before, so a couple of safety little nudges on the brake is probably gonna be required anyway.
Thibaut Pinot taking the King of the Mountains up there. Not too much to think about as far as that's concerned. 8 kilometres to go, soon to become 7. The valley down to your right is where we're headed. That is La Punt. It's Romansh-speaking territory, that fourth in the languages as far as the Swiss are concerned. Only spoken really in the border regions around the mountains. It's a Latin language based upon Italian and bits of other things you might find around here. It's got bits of German and Slovenian in it. It's a very interesting mix. But who will be speaking the winner's language at the end? We shall see. Remember, big implications for the general classification. Interesting.
Well, TJ doesn't want to be up there, and at the same time he doesn't want to interfere with the riding of these guys. If they want to drag him to the finish line, then he'll happily let them do so. By sitting up there, he's kind of blocking the riding a little bit and disturbing the flow of this. Thibaut Pinot is looking like he's having a bit of issues going down this descent with the likes of Mollema, who we saw the other day in the wet, do a fantastic descent.
He did ride really, really well indeed. Look at this, the gap now growing. 24 seconds. In the middle of those 24 seconds are these two. Dombrowski, who is leading for most of the climb, and Dan Martin of Ireland and Garmin Sharp. Just behind them, the yellow jersey of Matthias Frank.
I was expecting to see Cam Nye going with Dan Martin and Dombrowski. I thought he was far better technically than that.
23 seconds, we'll shave one off. They're going to require something else here. And I tell you what, there are risks to be taken at the bottom, aren't there?
Yeah, certainly. The last sort of 5 kilometres of descending are very technical. You get this part is still very quick, and then you get up maybe another 500 metres or so, and you'll see the road coming back at you. And this is where the front guys are now. Bauken Mollema is having a bit of a wide one.
Thibaut Pinot, the most in trouble. Van Garderen just hanging on the back of Rui Costa very cleverly.
It's interesting the efforts that goes into descending as well, because every time you're having one of these corners, you have to hit it so hard out of it. It is almost like you're doing a criterion in terms of your full explosion sprint out of every corner. Get yourself up to top speed as quickly as you can, and then slam on the anchors again into the next corner, and the same kind of hit out again. And you can see your heart rate is almost up at the top end of it anyway.
Interesting that Matthias Frank looks to be coming down a little better than everybody else here. The gap has been cut by 3 seconds. He's almost caught the group in front of Dombrowski and Martin, and if it carries on at this rate, now to 19, it could get very, very interesting indeed come the bottom.
Yeah, it's got to be close coming down the bottom if he keeps them taking time out of them. And some riders are far better at these tight technical turns than others, and it does require a special set of skills.
Let's remind you as well that Matthias Frank is a bit of a Tour de Suisse specialist. He's a Swiss rider, he knows the roads, and this is generally where he brings out his best performances in the season.
And he would have probably gone out here to recce this descent to know it, so that he knows what to expect when he gets there.
Big right-hand turn here, and Frank there, going to come right through. That group has been rejoined. 18 seconds now, they've taken 5 seconds out in the last kilometre and a half, 2 kilometres or so.
Yeah.
Now right back up the front, still Rui Costa from TJ Van Garderen, who is right on the Portuguese rider's wheel. Bauken Mollema still there, but we're waiting for Thibaut Pinot to come through.
Yeah, I think he's been dropped from this group. 19
seconds. Left turn here, and you'll be able to see La Punt right at the bottom of the valley.
At this point in time, Matthias Frank is still holding on to the yellow jersey though. 19 seconds is, we got Costa up there at 35 seconds on general classification. He's the most dangerous rider.
No bonus seconds as well in the Tour of Switzerland.
Exactly.
20 seconds. Gap grows ever so slightly again as those in front go on a slightly longer section, but there's a more complicated section of hairpins still to come.
And a lot rougher road as well through those particular turns.
Yeah, there are some lumps and bumps, as you said. There's going to be a bit of air time, I think. Oh dear! Oh no! Now what's happened here? That is an absolute nightmare for Rui Costa and TJ Van Garderen. The organisers are not going to be popular. We've seen a few of these things come down because of the wind, but I can tell you there's not much wind on this side.
No, and they're struggling to clear it as well. So,
well, these guys should be brought straight through by the bit of help, but they're going to have to be careful. Certainly not as held up. The other guys were lost. I think the guys in front, certainly the likes of Rui Costa and TJ Van Garderen, will have lost a second or two, and real panic stations for them.
Yeah, they would have lost a little bit of time there. Looking at it though, they seem to be...
Oh dear. What an inopportune moment. 21 seconds, so they've accelerated out of it, and not much difference. Well, now it goes down again. Big technical part of the course approaching right now for the next kilometre.
Yeah, coming up to 1 kilometre to go, and you've got to remember you've got that level crossing as well to negotiate.
Gap at 19 seconds, looking all the way back, looking for that yellow jersey, and Matthias Frank doing his best to sprint out in front. Get the feeling he's going to take a risk or two here.
Well, you have to.
Spilak hanging on the back. There's Roman Kreuziger as well. As long as Kreuziger comes home, I suppose, in this group, it's not over for him either, because he's a man who can TT and who can climb as well. Flamme Rouge, 1 kilometre to go. Here comes the level crossing. Onto the flat now for Rui Costa. He's out there in front. You can see Thibaut Pinot desperately trying to make a move. Remember, no bonus seconds for the stage win, but they'll contest it nonetheless. Tell you what, they won't be hanging around though. They need every single second. No cat and mouse here. Rui Costa right in front of TJ Van Garderen. Van Garderen behind, Rui Costa coming up with Bauke Mollema. It's going to be between these three for the stage win. And the sprint has been opened up. I can tell you Van Garderen is going for it here. Rui Costa in the middle should be the fastest of the three. Rui Costa right through the middle. He will take the stage win. And last year's winner over all of the Tour de Suisse just about takes it here, I think, on the line in La Punt. Pinot is fourth. And look at the clock, counting. Five, I should say, to Rui Costa. Ooh, well, just about keeps it.
Yeah, by probably about 10 seconds or so, I think, for a little bit more maybe for Da Costa.
Here's Tamil Kangat coming across the line. And it is a race now to do the sum to see just about where everybody is. Small group coming across. You can see the Portuguese flag flying at the base there in the 150 metres to go sign. And it is Rui Costa who's taken a win. He's the stage, and he's got himself a heck of a lot closer to Matthias Frank, who's going to go over and congratulate him now. Frank hangs on to yellow for now, but it's going to be a nervous weekend and a tight wait for Sunday. Rui Costa has a chance to defend his Tour de Suisse title.
Well, certainly looking at how Roman Kreuziger was climbing today, he didn't look that good at all on that one. And I'd say the strongest man at the moment, well, two men at the moment, is going to be TJ and Costa.
So TJ Van Garderen will have made up another 23 seconds on his teammate. 13 seconds now separate Matthias Frank and Rui Costa. I can tell you, Kreuziger still in third, Pinot fourth, Mollema fifth. This is the arrival on the day. Rui Costa ahead of Mollema and TJ Van Garderen. Van Garderen in the end just unable to come through. Slightly blocked, that checkered his path. Rui Costa, I think out of those three, always the strongest in the sprint.
I think TJ was a bit upset with the way he got pushed over towards the barriers there, and you've got to remember these guys are far from being sprinters. They're not used to being sort of elbowing and going through tight gaps. You know, it's a little bit different for them as such, and I don't think he was particularly happy about losing out on that stage win.
Michele Scarponi in after he attempted. Nice to see him always lighting up the show. Even though he hasn't won, I'm sure he's laughing and joking and smiling at the end of this. Brekovic coming across the line alongside Remy Poriol. Here's a sprint from the overhead here, and there it is, right in front of TJ Van Garderen. Van Garderen had nowhere to go if he didn't want to bring everybody down.
Also
massive.
Including himself, I got to say.
And of course, with the Tour de France coming up, he has bigger fish to fry as well. There's the winner on the day. Rui Costa, very, very popular figure in what is becoming very quickly his favourite race, I think. Loved it last year, made a big, big name for himself as a stage race winner on the World Tour for the first time. A couple of messages of congratulations already handed to him. Now the sprint for the rest of the places was like this. It was all about making up seconds for every single one of them in this group, really. Perhaps bar Edmondson. Dombrowski bottom, I should say.
Yeah. Good ride by Dombrowski though to take on that race and you know, go from so early on that final climb and still manage to hang in to the position where he was in the end. And you know, I think he finished 10th on the stage. You know, good to see a young rider racing aggressively and getting a good result in the end.
Matthias Frank in conversation with his loved ones. This is how it worked out on the day. Rui Costa ahead of Bauke Mollema and TJ Van Gogh in the sprint. 9 seconds from Thibaut Pinot, who was dropped on the descent there. Meyer, Martin, Kreuziger, Spilak, Frank and Dombrowski all making up the top 10. 22 seconds in the end, further behind the winner. Yellow jersey stays on the back of Matthias Frank, who's doing his cool down. His legs will be thankful for that tomorrow and Sunday. He won't be enjoying it now.
He certainly won't be enjoying it right now, but it is good to do.
13 seconds then is the lead from Rui Costa, who moves up a place. Roland Kreuziger now bumped down to third. Pinot remains in fourth, but he's ever closer. 44 seconds. Bauke Mollema, one of the big winners on the day, back to within 46 seconds and has given himself a real chance of doing something on Sunday as well. Oh, it's going to be a long time before everybody else gets here. Morganov in the next group along the line. Jens Vogt, ever a popular figure. Medeno Moser. And Jesus Herrada as well. This is La Punt. There's the railway line we were talking about. We didn't really get to see it on the camera angle.
Unfortunately not.
Suddenly switched back to the leaders, of course.
Would like to see one of the guys in the front group do a tail whip.
Well, these are the guys who are going to be there or thereabouts. I can tell you that the reason that Thibaut Pinot is down there, he is now the leader of the mountains classification. He took the points on there, so perhaps doing him a disservice by saying that he might not be too interested in those points as the Movistar Soigneur just wanted the camera out of the way to preserve the modesty of Rui Costa, I think. Trophy for the winner looks like that. I've been up and down a few rocks today. It's the Queen stage, and why not have a crown as well? Königstappe.
Yeah,
King stage, I think it's translated in German, doesn't it?
It is, yeah.
They've gone for the masculine version. Oh, what do you think of this sprint again?
Well, I've got to say, Costa took it on from very early on and you know, managed to hold on to it. But it's a big ride by Bauke Mollema to get himself back on again and then be able to contest the sprint. You know, he went very deep. You see, when the sprint is open up, he's still off the back of it, and you know, give it another 10-15 meters, and he probably would have been challenging Costa for the win.
Effort face from Rui Costa as he crosses the line. Deserved celebration as well. And La Punt today, instead of speaking Romansh, speaks Portuguese. Second sprint looked like this. Everybody together, same time for them, 22 seconds back. Cameron Meyer coming home just ahead of Dan Martin. Some tired faces there. Roman Kreuziger, perhaps surprising, is one of the men who we thought might climb a little better today. The last part of it.
Well, maybe it was a little bit too much to take on that really long climb, and quite a difficult one at that. You know, at the pace that Saxo set off in, you know, that could have put him into trouble a little bit higher up the mountain. And you know, it's not always a great thing to get your whole team on the front, and they might get a little bit overexcited. It's difficult to kind of hold the guys back as well. Once they get on the front and really starts going at it, then you know, they're keen to keep putting the pressure on. They've just buckled Kreuziger just that little bit.
Well, those that had already done the job had time to suit up for the descent down. Still riders coming down. Finally, they've got that horrible gate thing out the way. Now, let's go and speak to the winner. Barbara Colpi is with Matthias Frank.
Rui Costa es más feliz de la victoria o de los segundos ganados?
Creo que de los dos, seguro que.
Well, I'm happy about both the seconds and the win.
O intentar hacer alguna diferencia.
Today I wanted to try and make the difference.
Podemos hacer con el trabajo del equipo.
And yeah, of course, thanks to the work of both my team and other teams, have done well.
Ganar encima.
As well as getting the seconds back, winning was very important, and I'm very happy.
¿Cómo mira ahora para el general?
No, mañana creo que será una llegada para.
Well, tomorrow I think we can forget about the general classification of it.
Mañana que
and then, of course,
sí que es una zona bastante exigente y
we'll get to Sunday. It's a very, very difficult time trial. There can be big differences made. Of course, I'm going to try, give my best.
Gracias.
So, interview is gemacht. Wir kommen zur.
So it was Rui Costa, by the way, she was speaking to, not Matthias Frank, obviously. I'm not sure if Matthias speaks Spanish. That was his moment. Big, big moment. Of course, he's Portuguese, but rides in the Spanish team. That's his margin of winning, almost to bike length from Bauke Mollema. And with TJ Van Garderen just behind. Ready to receive the trophy then. The king of the king stage, we should say. Not sure if he'll be allowed on the plane with that thing in his suitcase. With a bit of excess baggage to pay. Winner of the stage, and a very happy one at that. Rui Costa of Portugal and Spain. Portugal's top stage racer and most famous cyclist of the moment. A big, big winner here at La Punt.
Ja, das war eine klare Ansage an den Leader. Hat seinen Rückstand auf den.
So he walks off a happy man, but attention will quickly turn now to Sunday and the Mountain Time Trial. He has 13 seconds to make up. The way we see Matthias Frank fading a little, I think, over the last day and last couple of days or so. We can see, of course, what's happened today, but talking about GC at the weekend. Rui Costa, does he have a real chance now?
Well, I think he does have a chance. I think TJ is probably in there as well with an opportunity to do something. Kreuziger, Bauke Mollema as well. You know, we've got to remember as well, it's a 25-26 kilometre time trial going up. Okay, it's a decent climb, but it's still a good old climb. And it's a different type of effort, and some of the guys might have been struggling at the back end today. It may be a lot fresher from that day because it is only 20 kilometres they've got to do. So everything's good to play for.
Matthias Frank in yellow again. Whatever happens this week, he'll have enjoyed his week. But getting so close and not winning it would be painful, I think, for him. This is the best chance for probably, let's look at this realistically for Matthias Frank, it's been the biggest result in his career.
Yeah, I think it has been, and you know, he's ridden well, to be fair to him, and you never know what's going to happen coming up Sunday here with this mountain time trial. He may just find that he goes well on it, and I certainly hope so for his sake.
That'd be good for the Swiss fans as well, who've really revelled in his yellow jersey stint. He's had Das Majorjon on the back of him all week long. 13 seconds ahead of Rui Costa, 23 the difference between the leader and Roman Kreuziger. Thibaut Pinot's at 44 with Balcomol at 46. TJ Van Garderen in with a shout. We talked about his possibilities. He's certainly going to go and give his best in a time trial. That's what you always have to do. 1 minute and 17, not beyond the realms of possibility that he does something here. Latest rider come over the line, Stefan Deniv, at 11 minutes and 44 down.
Yeah, there's 62nd rider to come across the finish line, so it's still another borderline, well, should we call it 90 riders out on the road somewhere.
And we're still waiting for Peter Sagan for the points jersey. Hope he hurries up. In the meantime, it's Thibaut Pinot.
Thibaut Pinot wird eingekleidet durch Eiter Kasparin, Biathletin, Vollgreiche Biathletin, assistiert von Arin Fischer und Stanita de Sousa.
Thibaut Pinot is the new king of the mountains. Red jersey for him.
Das ist der neue Bergkönig. Morgen muss sich bestätigen, wenn es dann von Zernetz nach Bad Ragaz geht.
Oh, almost still a bit of a slip there. Not quite a Sagan moment, but he nearly enjoyed himself a bit more than he should have done, I think, Thibaut Pinot there.
He's gone for the French trickle.
There'll be a few laughs about that at the back of the podium now.
Yeah.
I hope his partner wasn't watching. Handshake, that's better, you see. Off to the press conference for him now. And this was Thibaut Pinot's moment as he took the maximum points for that King of the Mountains jersey. Rui Costa just turning around wondering if anything was going to happen. Pinot cycling over and realising it was in sight, out on the pedals and making sure he would take the full points. And the Sagan fans, oh, they've even got tracksuits as well, all green. They've come with a full kit this week. The Sagan cold weather gear in a shop near you very soon.
Yeah, you can probably find it on his website.
Well, this is them as they came around. Again, the little dot by Thibaut Pinot. He knew what was coming up, and all credit to him. Waited and waited and waited, took the points. I'm not sure anybody else was too much interested in them. But Thibaut Pinot, now 26 points. He has a 7-point lead over Robert Breccia. And with that, more or less on his way to securing the King of the Mountains jersey. It's been a good day out. The sun's been shining most of the day. Weather's starting to turn a little more inclement now. Let's hope the sunshine is back for tomorrow as we head back towards Zurich. We're a probable sprint in Bad Ragaz tomorrow. And whether on duty or not, it's a nice day out. Hello to everybody at home. So the picturesque town of La Punt, not too far from St. Moritz. It's another big ski area down here. Again, a very affluent area. Not too far from the border. We actually drove past Liechtenstein as well today. Well, while we wait for the other jersey holders, let's go and have a look at the highlights of what happened today here on stage 7 of the Tour de Suisse.